Hello and welcome to the Avoid Drowning podcast, episode 2. I'm joined this week by regular commentator, George. Hey, George.
Good evening.
How's it going?
Not bad. I didn't realize a regular co-commentator.
Well, some people say we do too much together.
I think so too.
Would
That's
you like
me. I'm the one that says that.
Yes, you do.
Please stop following me a lot.
We do Let's Plays and stuff. You've probably heard his voice before if you're at all familiar with my body of work.
I'm familiar with your body.
No, but yeah, we also used to do... I used to do that live cast for Sega Sonic Radio.
Oh my god.
Speed Nux Pi.
Back in the day. We go way back, audio-wise.
Yeah.
I realized recently that you could just edit together things we've said in the past and make us say horrible things. I've said so many words into so many microphones.
Well, the audio quality of those things we used to do was so poor that I probably couldn't do that with any actual degree of accuracy.
That's true. We did record onto wax cylinders.
Yes.
We were the pioneers of that technology.
Yeah, I used to use... When I first started doing audio stuff, I used to use an iToy camera to record audio.
Why?
Not many people realize, but you could just plug it right into a computer and just use the microphone on the iToy camera as a regular microphone.
I actually just used like LPs and I would etch them handmade, but I would get it perfectly right with
That's
the
how
waveform.
Let's Play began, actually. Not many people know. People think it started with, I don't know, Slowbee, something awful forums, the Immortal Let's Play. But actually, it started with iToy cameras.
Not many people know that.
Even though iToy cameras probably came out after that.
A little bit of trivia for you.
You ever play the iToy games?
I love the washing windows one. That was a classic.
That was probably the best
with the
one.
song, like the banjo song, the George Formby guy.
I used to quite like the Ninja game. Also,
Was that the one where you had to like hit them?
Yeah.
Yeah, that trained
Those
me
were
for
terrible.
life.
That game was bad.
I don't.
If you played it now, you would just be like, "Why is all this?"
You'd be like,
happening?
"This is better than the Oculus Rift.
This is better
Let's
than Kinect.
get more iToy up in here."
This is why I pay the extra $100 for Kinect.
Hey.
Oh, Rareware, what happened to you? Which actually links into something that we're going to talk about later, but we're not going to talk about it now. Usually we start off the podcast, but I say usually, we've only had one episode before. Usually we start off by talking about what we've been playing lately. What have you been playing lately, George?
I
see Metal Gear Solid 5 over there.
That's a good point. I've been playing a bit of Ground Zeroes. It's pretty good. It's obviously the opposite of linear. Lydia.
Who's Lydia? Why is she playing all your Metal Gear games?
I've told her stop playing my Metal Gears, and she doesn't listen.
She's always on the NES playing the first one.
MGS Lydia, that's what I call her.
I haven't played it yet.
It's you know how you've played Hitman Blood Money, right?
Yes.
It's similar to that in the sense that you've got one big like open level and you can do what you want essentially. And I find that quite good because I've replayed it a couple times. Like, there's different missions in the same map, and it's quite fun to just replay it and just do different ways of doing it.
Yeah, I read a recent article about how Metal Gear Solid 5 is like the best example of what open world gaming can be. Even though it's not a massive map, it's like the things you can do in it.
Yeah, it's more about like freedom within a confined space, because I feel like if you're giving something the size of say like Grand Theft Auto 5 where it's massive,
or Seattle in the new Infamous,
sure, I think they can be too big, and you get lost in the freedom, so you're essentially free but you're kind of constrained by the lack of like depth in it, where this is a small space but you're free to do what you want in that space, and I find that more freeing in a way.
Yeah, it's also a freedom of mechanics as opposed to just open space.
Sure. But I feel like I kind of cheated it in a way because there's a checkpoint system.
Oh, is it because you use the Konami code?
There's a checkpoint system.
Is it because you played it on the Konami console?
Oh, that was why. I was playing it on the NES. That's why it felt weird. It was just
yeah.
like code. Yeah, there's a checkpoint system, and the checkpoints are at set places.
Oh yeah.
So what I was kind of gaming it in a way where I would complete an objective, then run back to where it would save.
Oh.
So then, if I then screwed up, I could just go load from checkpoint. Like, I feel like it was designed in kind of a weird way, but they're like really open to feedback. So what they've done is they're kind of using it as kind of like a beta for Phantom Pain in a way. because they were asking for feedback, like how can we learn from Ground Zeroes in the Phantom Pain.
Yeah, a lot of places seem to be doing that lately. I mean, you remember Assassin's Creed 4, you could rate each mission after you'd completed it as to how much you enjoyed it. I should have rated all the tailing ones to like 1, but I couldn't be bothered to actually rate them, so I'm part of the problem.
I did the same. Like there was some missions where they were like open, like big, kind of like set pieces.
Yeah.
And those I rated like 4 or 5, but the ones I didn't like, I just kind of skipped like the rating, just to get out of the way. And
abstained.
Yeah,
you spoiled it.
That kind of raises an interesting point. Like, should that be a thing, or should
I thought it was quite cool.
Should developers know what their fans want?
I thought it was quite cool. I think I saw it in another game recently, but I don't know what it was.
But do you think that it could kind of phase out the entire thing of releasing like a good game that's been tested before it's released?
Well, I suppose that's the whole sort of early access debate for Steam, because I mainly play PC games, so that's all I know.
Because
I don't buy early access games unless you count Broken Age, but yeah.
I went off the whole Kickstarter thing because I pre-ordered so many games on there, and then they all turned out bad.
Like
so
what?
I just stopped.
Like that board game you got?
I never even opened that because I was just trying to sell it on. But like even digital games, there's a couple that I bought, and then they just turned out very, very bad. What
Kickstarter games have you gotten?
Oh, I can't even remember. One of them was like a lot of them were like zombie games, because this is when the zombie game was. Like,
well, that's kind of your own fault for backing those.
This is when the fad was cool, right?
Yeah,
this was like 5 years ago.
Was in what, 1998?
This was when did Double Fine do the big thing? Because it was around them.
Oh, I don't know. A few years.
It must have been 2012, right?
Something like that.
But that was when like I went on like a big kick for a week and just downloaded.
Oh, I remember.
5 games.
I saw you doing those.
But yeah, then
I did Double Fine Adventure and Wasteland 2.
Yeah, I've done
pretty safe bets.
Yeah, because they're big teams, where I was doing it with like indie small teams, and it was like their first game. So I feel like you've got to like analyze it yourself and figure out whether it's a good investment or not. But I feel like with the whole early access thing and playing alphas and betas, they kind of ruin the game for you in a way. Because I play a lot of Kerbal Space Program.
Oh, yes,
that's a lot. I enjoy that a lot. But the way it keeps it fresh is that every month they'll release like a new big chunk of content for it.
Yeah.
Like new planets, new rocket parts, things like that, and that keeps it fresh.
Oh,
where when it's a game and they still haven't introduced kind of like the gameplay mechanics, essentially. Oh. There's no like story, there's no missions or anything which they want to introduce. But I feel like once those missions get involved and I essentially can complete the game, then I feel like I won't be interested anymore. I feel like they have to be open world, big kind of sandbox games for early access to work. If it's a story driven game, I feel like there's no hope.
Yeah, because then you would maybe play it and not like it because it's early. And
exactly.
You wouldn't want to play it again.
Yeah.
They initially released Broken Age as early access, but then they shifted it somehow to not be.
Didn't they split into 2 or?
They split it into 2, but it's not counted as an early access game or something.
All right. Yeah, because that is a story.
Because when they released part 1, it was like pretty much there. They did update it, but only a few tweaks.
Yeah.
It wasn't like proper early access. I think that's fair enough. FTL was a Kickstarter game.
Was it?
Yeah.
I feel
they just released a big update for it, but I haven't had a chance to play it
I feel like FTL is one of the kind of games that I'm talking about where it's kind of a sandboxy. It's a roguelike, isn't it? So I feel like it's kind of a sandboxy kind of game.
Yeah, so it's aimed to be played over and over.
Where a game that you're meant to experience one big time all the way through. Like, say The Walking Dead, that's perfect for episodic kind of
So that's perfect for not being kickstarted.
Yeah. Well, imagine if The Walking Dead was just one game and they early accessed it. You would finish it and feel like, well, they haven't done half the art assets. They haven't put half the gameplay mechanics in it. Yeah. So the entire thing has to be a sandbox kind of.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting if they did something like they just released the first episode and then they sort of saw how that did.
Exactly.
Like a pilot. And I kind of thought that would be sort of what Ground Zeroes would be like. And I suppose in a way it is if they're taking a lot of feedback
I think Kojima explicitly said that like he learned from The Walking Dead and said like more games should be episodic where we can put out something.
I do remember reading that interview.
Then kind of learn from that and make the full game better.
Yeah, I mean, I like short games. Really, I don't have the time to.
Yeah,
I thought about trying to 100% Metal Gear Solid 2 again the other day because I kind of have a soft spot for Metal Gear Solid 2. I got addicted to it once and played it for about 2 days straight, not sleeping. But that's another story for another time. And I was looking up on, I don't know, PlayStation trophies or something because, you know, a little guide map's nice if you want to 100% something. You don't want to miss things. I don't use it very often. But I was looking at it, they give you like an estimated time, and it was like 50 to 60 hours. And I was just like, nah.
What, for Metal Gear Solid 2?
To 100% they estimate that. That's VR missions and all the dog tags.
Yeah.
I just haven't got that in me.
Seems like way too much. Like, if you said to me, here's a 60-hour game, I'll be like, ugh.
It's like RPGs, like JRPGs and stuff. Skyrim, I haven't played that much because I know it will take a long time.
I really got into Skyrim when it came out in 2011 and just played it for
it's
like 2 weeks solid.
It's quite samey.
But then I feel like with those kind of games, if you stop playing them for, say, a week, you just can't get back into them.
Yeah.
So I've restarted Skyrim like 3 times, played it for like once, and then just stopped and then had to do it again. Yeah, I feel like the big games now, Metal Gear Solid and I make an exception because I want to know what happens in that series. Like,
and also, that
series.
Ground Zeroes is meant to be pretty short.
Yeah.
Some people were like, oh, it's so short. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't want to sit around with the Metal Gear Solid 4 cutscenes the whole time.
No.
Spending hours stalking people through empty streets.
Oh my god, man. Yeah, the Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes is kind of the perfect kind of... It's a prologue. So I think
it's kind of a shame it would just be Ground Zeroes and Phantom Pain. They should do 5 different games.
What would the titles of those games be?
Ground Zeroes, Phantom Pain, Deus Dupla.
I'm sorry, what?
Deus Dupla.
What does that even mean?
Deus Dupla. It's
is that like a new
Spanish for double dose?
Oh, it sounds like a Pez flavor.
Because that would be like the second one because Ground Zeroes obviously it's 0, and then Phantom Pain. I don't know. Somehow that means 1.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well,
triple threat.
Triple threat.
And Square. Because there's 4.
It's developed by Square Enix.
It's a crossover with Final Fantasy X.
I would not. I'm going to go
specifically Final Fantasy X.
Going to go out on a limb. Not going to play that one.
Okay.
I'll skip. I'll go straight to Pentagram game.
Guess what game I played the other day?
Uno.
I purchased Ninja Gaiden 3.
I've never played Ninja Gaiden.
This is meant to be the one that ruined the franchise.
Oh, well, way to go. You're actively supporting the Roman.
But I bought it, and then I got to the second level, and I realized there's another version of Ninja Gaiden 3 called Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge, which is like an enhanced one with all the DLC and like changed levels and stuff.
So you bought the kind of vanilla version?
Yeah, so I'm just not going to play it anymore.
Perfect.
But I don't know if I ever actually buy Razor's Edge now I spent the money on Ninja Gaiden 3. I hate when they do that kind of thing. It just puts me off everything.
How old is it? How old is the game?
Oh, it's not that old. Because before they had Ninja Gaiden, and then they had Ninja Gaiden Sigma Black. But that was... Ninja Gaiden was for Xbox, and then Sigma Black was an enhanced version that came out for PS3. And they did the same with Ninja Gaiden 2 and Ninja Gaiden 2 Sigma. So Razor's Edge is meant to be like that, except Ninja Gaiden 3 is already on PS3.
So it's kind of like a Game of the Year edition kind of upgrade?
Yeah, but I think they actually enhanced it a bit more than that, so the levels are like different.
How do you feel about Game of the Year editions?
Well, whenever I look at the Batman Arkham City one, it makes me laugh.
Why?
The box art. Have you seen the box art for that?
No.
It's literally plastered in ads. Well, not ads, but like it's got like 5 out of 5 and really big font. I thought it was a joke when I first saw it. I'm still not convinced. Maybe I thought the joke was real all along. I still find it unbelievable that that's the actual cover art.
That means she's a little bit the iPad magic.
Yeah, great. Good job.
What was it called? I completely forgot what you were talking
Batman Arkham City. I like Game of the Years if I don't have any of the content.
The problem I did before was that I would just buy the game at launch, buy all the DLC, and then I'd be like, well, I've just screwed myself.
If I find it hard to complete like a series, and by complete I mean actually have it all, then it puts me off playing the series completely. It's like with Mass Effect 3. I'll probably never play Mass Effect 3. That doesn't fit in properly because it accidentally cut out some of our conversation.
Just like they cut content from The Walking Dead.
Did they? Oh, yes. We were talking about episodic things.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way of... episodic is a good way of developing games.
Yeah, because I feel like there's three paths. There's episodic, like The Walking Dead, or there's what they've done with Ground Zeroes where... they've released one...
Actively listening to feedback and then improving upon a product.
And then there's the rating model from Assassin's Creed. Which one do you prefer?
Well, I think the ratings model is a bit difficult to comment on because I haven't really seen it in action and I haven't really heard that much about how it's being used. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen it a couple places, but I can't recall apart from Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, that's the only one I can think of, but I definitely... was playing something else recently that was in. Yeah,
I feel like it might be easier because you've got obviously every single person that plays the game online is going to see the review screen, like that review 5-star review thing. So I guess it's a good way to get a wide net of feedback, but you're not going to get in-depth feedback from people.
I suppose it depends. Yeah, it's not very specific if you just put, didn't like this one.
With Ground Zeroes, I feel like they're trying to actively pursue in-depth qualitative feedback. And trying to get a big picture of what people want.
My main question is, who is it? Keith Sutherland?
Oh yeah, Kiefer Sutherland.
What is it like? Brush all these other issues aside. Let's cut to the meat. What about the absence of David Hayter?
It feels weird because
everybody says I hate these fans online moaning about voice actors. I come from a Sonic the Hedgehog background. I can tell you a thing or two about. I can tell you a thing or two about voice actor arguments. But this, you gotta. It's an actor thing.
It doesn't feel like him, but I get I get it. I feel like in the Phantom Pain, there's going to be a big reveal, and David Hayter will be back as Solid Snake, and everyone will be happy.
I want to believe
the truth is out there.
I want Solid Snake.
Yeah, I feel like it doesn't. It doesn't feel right with him in it, but they've given him so few lines, you can barely tell.
Does he even sound like David Hayter?
Oh no, not at all. He sounds like Kiefer Sutherland.
I don't know what he really sounds like.
It's just like a. It's a dark, grovelly voice again, but kind of.
Keith Sutherland.
Hey man,
swear to me.
Yeah, it just doesn't sound like David Hayter, but I get it. They're not trying to make him sound like David Hayter, but
I'm Batman. I'm Shadow the Hedgehog. I just do the same voice. I'm Solid Snake.
It's pretty good. You're actually in the next game. You're
Batman.
You're the new David Hayter.
Joker. Eggman.
Yeah, but a lot of people have fed back on that, and I don't think they're going to change it because I feel. Yeah, a lot of people have contacted them saying it sounds weird and it sounds wrong, but I feel like there's a big plan for it, and
it is a Kojima thing to do.
Yeah,
but I mean, since Metal Gear Solid 2, has he really done that many crazy
He put a bandage around a northern European man's head and pretended he was a developer for the Phantom Pain. And then he went to an interview and took it off, and it was fake European eyes under a bandage. So yeah, he's done a couple crazy things.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the whole Moby Dick thing.
You remember?
That was amazing.
What? It still doesn't make any sense. That is never referenced in Ground Zeroes. That isn't.
It was still amazing that they didn't tell you that it was Metal Gear Solid 5 and they just pretended. Oh my god!
Did you see?
That's all the joy I need in games.
Did you see the interview that they did?
Yeah.
He walks in, just takes it off.
It was Jeff Keighley, right?
Yeah. But it's
his jackets.
Classic Kojima. That's what that is. But yeah, I feel like I like the Ground Zeroes model. Put out something. It's a teaser. It's got some of the key concepts in it, and then get a lot of feedback, get in-depth feedback, then improve upon it in the Phantom Pain. But should games be about what the fans want or what the developer wants, what the visionary wants? I say visionary in loose terms because it sounds ridiculous.
It's a difficult one, especially especially because I come from a Sonic the Hedgehog.
Stop saying that.
No, I don't really.
It's not a real thing.
I study creative writing at university, and I also used to study English. So the whole kind of sort of authorial intent thing is a hot topic even today in literature circles. So I don't know if we can have a definitive on that, and it's difficult, especially with games, because of it's not just like one person most of the time, and then obviously you have like Ken Levine and Hideo Kojima, which are obviously very creative people, but it's difficult sometimes with how much of sort of team effort it is and how big it is.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of
how big games are.
So much credit gets put on the kind of developers, where obviously there's massive teams building these things, and like I don't feel like the actual developers get a lot of credit.
I suppose if you have a clear creative head, though, like, I mean, not a head as in a part of the body, but as in like a lead, then I suppose, you know, if you're pushing for that creativity in the first place, you should follow it through. But you know, it doesn't hurt to listen to feedback. I mean, even writers.
Do you think there's
G.R.R. Martin, I'm sure, is affected somewhat, even if subconsciously, by things as fans.
Yeah. Where do you think the balance should lie? Do you think it should be like kind of in the middle, or?
I don't know.
Because maybe you kind of weaken it down to get like a mass audience appeal, but then maybe that's what people want.
Yeah, I suppose all the games I love are mainly sort of ones that less people love.
Which is
because they have more character, and I like that in a game. I'm thinking obviously at the moment of Deadly Premonition. I've forgotten who the main lead director is there, but he's one of those, you know, Japanese auteurs.
Is that an indie game, or was that like a professional studio game?
It's like a B movie game. You know, they don't really do those games anymore. Sort of a budget title.
Yeah, I remember.
It came out at about a £20 price point.
Yeah, I remember a lot of those on PS2.
It's amazing. Like every PS2 game, yeah. Oh, I actually, I played a lot of games recently, so I don't know. We can talk about this for a while. Maybe I'll cut it down. I purchased stupidly. I don't know. I haven't got a lot on at the moment. Let's be honest. I'm not doing so good. I just wanted a movie tie-in game to just play.
What?
I bought Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End.
You sent me a Snapchat of this the other day. It was on PS3, and the graphics, beautiful. I gotta say.
It's strange, and this is partly why I picked it up, because I was looking on the PlayStation Network store. I was like, I was wanting to see what the price of Lego Pirates of the Caribbean is, because you can't get that on Steam, and I wanted it for PS3. And I typed in Pirates of the Caribbean, and there's not many titles that come up, but one of them is a PS2 download of Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. And I knew at that time there's a PS3 version of it. Why isn't that available for download? Why is the PS2 Classics edition of that game available for download? And now I realize I think it's the same game. I don't think there's any difference.
They just literally...
It doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like it's in HD. There's jaggies all over the place.
Please don't use that word.
Jaggies.
Yeah. Yeah, it looked shocking. I gotta be honest. Why did you want a Pirates of the Caribbean game? You've got Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, I don't know. No.
You just wanted.
Well, I was curious, and I used to have it for Wii, and I remembered it being kind of fun. So I just thought, just pick it up. I also got it confused in my head with Pirates of the Caribbean: Legend of Jack Sparrow for PS2, which is a terrible game, but one of the best co-op experiences ever.
Do you have a lot of co-op experiences?
I'm
pretty inexperienced when it comes to
co-op games.
I'm pretty inexperienced when it comes to co-op.
Yeah.
I prefer to play with myself.
Did you ever play Pirates of the Caribbean: Legend of Jack Sparrow? It's probably one of the best movie tie-in games ever made. Is it conceit? I don't know words. I know I do story university stuff. I should know these words. The premise of the game, that's the word, is Captain Jack Sparrow has been caught, and he's on trial with Will, you know, Orlando Bloom's character.
Yeah.
And he's trying to sort of stall for time. So he's telling all these crazy, fantastical stories that you play through. And they don't really make sense because Captain Jack's telling them. Like, he's telling this story about when he's in China, and Will's like, well, why was I here? And he's like, shut up, you just were.
So this is a lot like that other game you were playing, the Wild West one.
Wild West one.
The one where the guy tells stories.
Oh yeah, it's a little bit like the Gunslinger one, but it plays with it a little bit less.
You essentially kind of.
You're just playing through these fantastical things that probably didn't happen.
Do you enjoy that then, like kind of like a narrative?
I guess so.
From within a character.
I suppose so. I thought it was quite fun from the point of view that it wasn't just another movie tie-in one. Although I think at the end of the game you do play through the events of the first film, but I never got that far because it is hard as shit.
That is quite an interesting storytelling device. I don't think I've played many games where the kind of the story's told.
No, well, it's definitely interesting in a video game perspective because you're sort of immersed in it, and then if the world's sort of changing a bit, it's interesting.
It kind of gives more freedom for the developers to do what they want, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, if you're like reading a book, you can't really change it around so much and have the same sort of effect on the reader than if you're actually sort of in it. And I also played Cook Serve Delicious.
Yes. What is this? One of those games where it gives you the accurate kind of recipe, the accurate?
Oh no.
Is this a fantasy game? Is this a fantasy fight?
It's like sort of Diner Dash or something. You've got to sort of take orders and sort of juggle cooking food, and it gets all chaotic. And each food is like a different sort of mini game. And some of them you might be better at than others. You got to juggle. You got to buy equipment for your restaurant and stuff. You got to take out the trash, do the dishes.
So it's kind of like a management kind of sim-ish.
It's not really simulatory.
Oh, like an arcadey.
It's just fun
game. Yeah.
They just released a big update for it to with sort of 1080p visuals and gamepad support. Although I wouldn't use the gamepad if I would.
I don't know whether this is because
It's great.
I don't like fiction. I don't like fiction books. I don't like much fiction, right?
Oh yeah, I hate worlds created by people.
I just don't get it. I just don't enjoy it.
Oh man, I love Pirates of the Caribbean 4.
It's
the best
my
one.
god, that is what? No.
Everyone hates me when I say that.
That's because you're wrong.
It's based on a book actually. I bought it the other day by Tim Powers. Anyway, continue.
I find myself playing more management sim.
Yeah, you do like boring games.
I don't know. I don't like.
It's strange that you like Metal Gear, really.
I feel like I just because I played Metal Gear from when I was a kid, and Metal Gear involves real elements. It's about the Cold War. It's about nuclear proliferation.
So confusing playing Metal Gear Solid 3 at GCSE history level.
I would start every one of my Cold War essays with like, at the end of World War II, the world was split into two, which is the opening line from Metal Gear Solid 3.
Wow, you should have been kicked out for plagiarism.
I sourced it, don't worry.
Oh, good.
I didn't.
That's the kind of thing I would have done at that sort of level. I probably still would do that.
I like non-fiction games. I like management games, but I also like fiction games set in solid fiction and solid non-fiction. So I like Metal Gear. I liked Fallout because it was kind of playing with the reality of
I know
non-fiction.
What you mean. I do have a big...
I don't like fantasy games. I don't like games where they've just made it up, kind of.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of fantasy, really, and I do have a sort of a big love for historical sort of fiction.
Yeah.
Even if it's not real, but if it's based on history.
And I find myself learning things from these games, like Europa Universalis. I've played that a lot, like Europa Universalis 4 and Crusader Kings 2. And it teaches you a lot.
Into those.
Yeah, because
I've tried
so much. You need to like study the game. You need to study it. But once you do, it's a really kind of rewarding experience. But it teaches you a lot about history.
Love that
like
history.
So I like playing games where I get something from it. With a story, I don't tend to get that. Where with Metal Gear, I'm kind of being immersed in the world of. Say, when Metal Gear Solid 3 came out, it was all about Cold War. And then that set me off onto like a Cold War kick where I went...
Cold War kick?
It's a band I've just made up. And then I would research the topic. So the game and the knowledge kind of like came in hand.
So what you're saying is you don't find fiction satisfying? It's still good.
And not unless like... I don't find...
You don't find fiction rewarding?
No, unless it's linked to real kind of.
Did you see the new Captain America?
No, I haven't.
Actually, that is kind of linked in with issues of the modern day. So
there we go. And I
guess you got me there.
So yeah, I need a game to reward me in certain ways, like whether it's with knowledge or.
Yeah, I do get a bit depressed sometimes with how pointless some things are.
Just life in general.
Like,
I think that's just
everyone likes to watch The Sewing Bee at the moment, which is like a spin-off of the Great British Bake Off or whatever. I think it's the same
Sewing
thing.
Bee?
Yeah, it's called the Great British Sewing Bee. It's sort of, Great British Bake Off, but with sewing. You familiar with the British Bake Off?
I've watched an ep or two.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like everyone loves watching it, but what would I get out of watching that? That'd just be a waste of time.
But you would learn how to cook. I feel like that's a better...
I guess. I already have a food tech GCSE, though, so I think I'm good.
That bee has served you well, man.
I think I've done all my cooking.
For life.
It's all takeouts from here.
That sounds like heaven.
Oh, I love fried chicken and gravy.
That's a good choice. Why would you not go with that?
Oh, my stomach was... Oh, jeez. Just thinking about this.
You texted me the other day, I've never eaten a fried chicken and an apple in the same day.
Well, I haven't.
True.
I don't even
That's
like apples very much. But that's neither here nor there. What were we even talking about?
But yeah,
waste of time.
I feel like fiction needs to be involved with realities, and I can learn from it, and I can enjoy it at the same time. And I think learning and enjoyment come hand in hand. I need that in a game.
I guess it's like having boring lessons versus a lesson taught by a fun and exciting teacher.
Yeah,
that's fun. Let's do that. That's nice. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
J-Lo.
I actually did say that last podcast. So that is actually my catchphrase now.
Your catchphrase is a talk show host name.
Yeah, but it's a talk show's host name. It doesn't have to be one. There's any of them. That's what you don't know. You know the catchphrase is coming, but you don't know what's it going to be.
You got Conan O'Brien now.
It's like when you watch The Simpsons. You know there's going to be a couch gag, but you don't know. You don't know what it's going to be.
Edge of your toes, man. Keep on him.
That's my whole sort of creative motto. You know it's coming, but what is it going to be?
That's how I live my life.
Yeah. So do you not like to play anything like Peggle or Zuma or Candy Crush?
No, I played a lot of the game 3s recently on phone, and
those are kind of pointless.
But it's kind of like math. I feel like I'm learning math at the same time.
I think you're just thinking of excuses now.
Well, I've got to make my argument work somehow. But yeah, I don't. And with Rock Band as well, I felt like I was learning something. Like I was improving my rhythm.
I think
I was improving my kind of skills-ish.
Yeah, Guitar Hero got me into guitar.
Yeah,
and I think it did help sort of dexterity and rhythm and stuff.
Yeah, I need to feel like I'm not wasting time. And I feel like a lot of games now are just kind of making you feel like you waste time. And I need it to give me something apart from enjoyment.
I guess. I mean, I find a sort of enjoyment in learning the mechanics of something. Like Devil May Cry or Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, I've never felt that. Because you loved Metal Gear Rising. And
God, I love it.
I thought it was okay. Like, I thought it was an okay game. And
I could play that over and over. And I do.
And it raised interesting points about like cybernetic enhancements and stuff.
Oh, I
didn't
that kind of pay attention to any of that.
Well, I think that's how we play games differently then.
I did the first time. I thought it was a funny sort of cheesy Metal Gear romp.
Metal Gear romp. But and with Deus Ex as well.
No, I never really got into that much because I played. I rented it and I played like up until a certain point on Xbox, and then I got it for PC. And then the director's cut was coming out, so I was like, okay, I'll wait until that comes out. And I have the director's cut now, and I haven't started it yet.
Oh yeah, I've got 2 versions of it as well.
But I did actually quite enjoy the stuff around that in that game
because I feel like it kind of engages you. It involves me in the world.
I like RPGs where you don't have to do any fighting.
True, yeah.
That's why I love some of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, because apart from the terrible bits at the end, you can basically not do any fighting.
I watched you play that, and I just couldn't get into it. Like, I watched a video you made of it or something.
Oh, I haven't made any videos of that.
I must have just watched somebody else play it then, I don't know.
Yeah, probably. I don't really do many Let's Plays.
I couldn't get into that because it has no bearing on reality as vampires. I don't get that. And I don't get any kind of MMO either. Fantasy MMO. I'm like, this has no bearing on reality. Oh, yeah,
I can't play MMO.
I can't do that.
I can't go into that sink again.
No, but if it was, say, like a Cold War MMO, sign me up, man.
I don't know.
Get me in that.
I like fiction and stuff, so I guess I just enjoy that.
Yeah,
that was kind of odd. I suppose I enjoy the the mechanical depth in some games as well, which you don't.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of mechanical kind of.
With games, I either enjoy one or the other. Really, I don't think of any games which I enjoy both.
Sure.
I like Metal Gear.
It's pretty good. But yeah, that's why I love Metal Gear, because it has so many real things in it. It has like so many real issues, like nuclear proliferation. It's got Cold War in it. It's got genetic modification. It's got like the ethics of warfare.
Yeah, even though it's a bit cheesy and over the top, it's doing a lot more than a lot of other games are doing.
It has so many real topics in it. That's why I'm so involved in that kind of world. Where if it's just somebody just made it up and it's about vampires.
Tomb Raider was good, but did you not like the new Tomb Raider?
It's alright as just a playthrough.
I guess it didn't really deal with any issues and stuff, but it had an actual decent story.
It had a bit about the World War II in it. It was a Japanese bunker, wasn't it?
Did. Yeah, good job.
So that involved me, but the rest was like, I'll just play for this.
And Spec Ops: The Line is the only other one I can think of where I've really enjoyed the story.
That I appreciated that they brought something like that into a game.
So good,
but it didn't surprise me at all because it was just about like, hey, war is bad. And I was like, well, I kind of knew that.
It was a pretty. Did you play it in one sitting or not?
I played it over a course of about 2 weeks.
Oh, maybe that's it then. Because I just put an evening aside and I just did it, and it was intense and I was battle scarred by the end of that 4-hour session.
That's just because you had no more Nolan North.
It doesn't take long. I switched it down to easy. I mean, because apparently the combat's not very good. I don't really enjoy third-person shooters much. I suppose the fact I turned it down to easy is, I do that sometimes with games these days.
Yeah, because sometimes you just want to get through it.
When in my younger and more vulnerable years, my father gave me a piece of. It's a quote from a book. I think I misquoted it even.
Probably, yeah.
No, but sometimes I used to just throw games on the like hard first go through. These days I can't do that. It's not like I can't. I don't care enough.
When I was a kid, I'd always play easy. Then I leave it on normal now because I feel like that's how it's meant to be played.
Yeah, sometimes I leave it on normal. Sometimes I think, am I gonna enjoy the gameplay in this game? Is it just a shooter? Just turn it to easy. I don't care.
Yeah.
But I was playing some Hitman Absolution the other day. I know you don't like that game. But
I'm not a fan of that one.
It's like a really easy Hitman.
Yeah,
right. I'll finish it. I'll finish it.
I finished it, but I just didn't enjoy it.
But I kind of enjoy the gameplay in those games. I don't want it to be too hard where I'm taking ages, but I put it on normal because I want it to be a bit challenging. I want to just walk from A to B.
What, you don't play Walking Simulator?
No.
I love Walking Simulator 2015.
I had the chipmunk mascot outfit. That's great in that game.
Oh yeah, I love that in Walking Simulator.
Is there anything like that in the other Hitmans? I haven't got too deep into it.
It's like an ice cream truck thing, I think.
Oh, well, check out my Steam profile. I uploaded some pics of me in the chipmunk outfit.
just you.
It's great.
Not even in the game, it's just you in a chipmunk outfit.
It's really hard trying to sneak through the end of the level in that chipmunk outfit, but it was rewarding in a way.
I might pick up Absolution again and try and play through it when I've got nothing on.
Oh, yeah.
It's summer now and I don't have anything.
You just wait for the Steam sale. I mean, it's a Square Enix game, though they go cheap. You get it for like £1.
I think it's pretty cheap on GMG right now.
You get it for like $1.99.
Because I feel like now it's
summer.
They
give it to you for free.
I'm more okay with wasting time. So now I might try and get into fiction. And things like that.
No.
Because I don't feel like there's a pressing kind of need. Like I can just waste time now.
Yeah, real life alert. We basically don't have university anymore. So.
Yeah, so I feel like now I can just waste my life reading fiction in made up worlds. Because
you like Game of Thrones, don't you?
Yeah, but that is also based in kind of reality kind of context.
Yeah,
it's
to be
about
honest,
real
that's why I like Game of Thrones a lot more than I like any other fantasy stuff, because I kind of like it's less generic, it's more sort of political.
Yeah, there's dragons in it, but like it's more of a device than a.
Even in my book fiction, I like to skip the fights.
Really.
I don't want to read a 40-page battle scene. Sorry, Tolkien.
Yeah, that's why I enjoy Game of Thrones as well. I don't like fantasy, but Game of Thrones is. I wouldn't say it was fantasy.
You looking forward to the Telltale Game of Thrones game?
Is that a thing?
Yeah, they announced it. Remember, Jeff Keighley was with Joel McHale, and what was that? It was the award thing, and it was hilarious.
It was the Spike ones, I think.
Yeah, they announced it then, as well as the Borderlands one.
Oh, right. But yeah, that would be
Could
interesting.
Be good.
I'd be interested to see how
I have 2 Game of Thrones games.
It's a fixed kind of narrative.
But I haven't played the Game of Thrones games I have. They're not meant to be that great, but the actual sort of RPG one, not the strategy game, is actually meant to be alright.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be great, but it's meant to be alright if you like the books.
Sure.
Because it sort of plays around the events.
Yeah.
Telltale has just got so much on their plate right now. I'm kind of worried about how long it takes them to get episodes out,
Yeah, are they expanding their team? Because that seems a lot for just one.
I love Telltale. I will buy
4 games going.
I buy every Telltale game, basically. I think I have all of their games, apart from the new ones, which aren't finished yet.
Yeah. But maybe they're spreading themselves too thin. Because they had such success with Walking Dead.
Even Jurassic Park was alright in places. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous and terrible, but it was kind of funny.
Do you think it could get old, though? Because now they're developing all these kind of games with the same mechanics.
I'm worried they'll fall into the trappings of doing it just by the numbers.
Yeah, because The Walking Dead and...
even their straight-up sort of basically adventure games beforehand, while they all use the same engine and stuff, it seemed quite different. So
The Wolf Among Us uses the same systems as The Walking Dead, doesn't it? So maybe they could just end up... They might get stuck into the trap.
I hope they do some more adventure games. Maybe they'll do that with Borderlands. But I have a feeling they won't. But I want adventure games. I've got CSI Fatal Evidence on PS3. Telltale involved with that. I don't even like CSI, but goddamn, is that game alright?
So, do you think it's okay for them to keep pushing out the same kind of similar thing, as long as it works, or...
I'd like them to try different things with different franchises.
But that's what they're doing. Well, they're trying different franchises, but the same model.
Well, just because they've done it for The Wolf Among Us doesn't mean that they'll necessarily do it for Game of Thrones or Borderlands. I reckon they probably will do for Game of Thrones, do something like that. But I kind of would like more sort of adventure game, like the straight adventure game, going around collecting things.
Yeah. I never got into adventure games either, because it's a lot of time wasting.
Well, that's why I like the Telltale ones, because they're actually quite easy.
Do you mean like the modern Telltale ones?
Yeah.
Like Walking Dead and things like that?
Well, even the older ones, Sam and Max.
I couldn't get into Sam and Max. I couldn't get into that.
I guess maybe I'm just better at adventure games. But if you turn like hints all the way up, if you're having a hard time with it, then the first Sam and Max is a bit tricky actually. But they're quite easy and straightforward, and they have a lot of hints in them.
Yeah.
I kind of like with those adventure games as opposed to the Walking Dead style. I quite like that there's no real time pressure to do anything.
Sure.
You're just sort of walking around, you're clicking it, and you think, "Oh yeah, how do I get past this?" You hated Broken Age, didn't you?
Yeah, I haven't finished it. I haven't got to I played like the first bit of the guide stage and never finished it. But
that's super easy.
Yeah,
there's only one hard puzzle in it, and it's not even that hard.
I liked The Walking Dead.
Just remember that you can combine items.
I would get an episode. Well, I had all 5 because it was after. But then I would dedicate an entire evening to playing that episode, and I would play it in one sitting. So I had kind of the entire episode intense experience, because they were in like 2 hours or
well, Sam and Max and stuff is episodic, so that's what I would sort of do with that.
But it's not like an intense thing, is it, Sam and Max?
No.
Where with The Walking Dead, I'd feel like I'm emotionally drained after like a couple of the episodes.
Yeah, I suppose so.
But yeah, I liked it because they would just tell me a story. I'm like, tell me a story. Tell me the story. Don't have me go walking around finding a fish hook and a can of cheese.
It did fall into that in a couple of places, though, didn't it? The train section, I think.
Yeah, I didn't like that train section. Annoyed me.
There were a couple of bits. Yeah.
I'm just like, tell me a story, and then I'll...
You should play the Jurassic Park one. It's hilarious. I kind of wanted to do a Let's Play of it, but I think someone did a pretty good LP of it.
I've heard
Check it out. lparchive.org. I think someone did a good one.
Yeah.
Either that or I think Slow Beef and Diabetes were bandying around doing sort of a long play of it, because the deaths are hilarious.
Yeah.
You want to see an all-death run.
What's
I'm
new
talking
on the
flopping about with T-Rexes.
What's new on the all Avoid Drowning site this week?
Oh yeah, I guess we should do that now. Good job.
We're almost on time.
Oh, I guess you're hosting it now.
Yeah,
Is that right?
well,
Is that right? Taking over?
I've taken control of the Void
Yeah,
Dragon.
announcement. New editor in chief.
You've been fired from your own website.
Oh, great. That's actually a lot big burden off my back. I can hand because my website is partially university based. I could just say, well, I did it, and now it's someone else is doing it now. Guess I did it complete 100%.
I can't get involved in fiction now.
It's out my hands.
So yeah, what's new?
Well, this week's update thing is, well, we've kind of been talking about it the whole time inadvertently. It's I named it something stupid like a link to the games, because it's all about sort of similarities between games and stuff. I wrote 2 of the articles this time because no one wants to contribute to the site. Avoiddrowning.com. Avoiddrowning.com/timetable, where you can contribute.
Was that a Ringo Starr impression? Or?
Ad voice. I wrote something about open world gaming, which we talked about at the beginning of this podcast, I think.
Yeah.
About emptiness. I talk a little bit about L.A. Noire.
Yeah, that felt kind of dead to me.
Oh, I love L.A. Noire. It's amazing, but it's also a bit disappointing.
It's so empty.
It's not really a game. Yeah, it is empty.
It is
a fantastic map, though. They spent so much time accurately building an accurate depiction of 1940s LA. It's so accurate, but there's no real reason to go in it.
Yeah.
And it will never be used again.
Yeah. I feel like that was such a so much effort was put into that, but there was no reason to explore it.
Yeah, I talk a bit in my thing about maybe they should make some areas and stuff as sort of generic assets that can be shared more between games, even if it's an intercompany thing.
Sure.
Because how great would it be to have like a few games set in that LA?
There's the I guess it's like a development kit, but Unity, Unity, the game engine.
Yeah.
I think they have like a store where you can develop your own assets, upload them, then people can kind of download them, use them, pay you for it.
Because it's such a shame with the 1940s LA, especially.
Yeah. So they have like a database.
And how much must they spend on doing that kind of thing now?
Yeah.
And places like New York, a fairly modern New York, that's used like loads of times. How many times has New York been built?
Yeah, it seems like a waste of time and reresources, essentially.
At least with the Spider-Man games, like the Activision ones, they basically reused it like 3 or 4 times.
Sure.
Built upon it.
So you're saying there should be kind of more interaction between developers sharing assets, or buying, selling assets.
It seems kind of pointless not to do that. I mean, it would maybe seem a bit similar, but for like budget titles or something, they could. Surely they would save a lot of money.
Sure. I think that's what they're trying to do with this Unity store, where you can buy and sell assets. And I think that makes the process so much easier, and it increases kind of like the crowd kind of perspective, because say you're an artist, but you're not a good developer. Yeah. You develop your own models, you upload them, people pay you for them, put them in their games.
Or if you're a good writer, but you don't know how to do anything else. Oh, I know that's everyone. If you go on like Reddit has like a subreddit for like comic collaboration.
Sure.
If you just click on it, there's so many people like, yeah, looking for an artist.
That was you, to be fair. You've done that too.
No, I don't. I just go around and I look for vulnerable artists. I don't beg for it. I just pinpoint them. I get them.
Tell me about your next article.
Adam wrote a bit about how Rare and Nintendo make similar games. Even though Rare is now owned by Microsoft, they still seem to take a lot of cues from one another. And he's got some points.
What was your stance on it? Do they kind of?
Well, I guess at first I was like, and then I read his article and I was like, oh yeah.
I was like,
sounds about, yeah. I can see it now. It's stuff like Nintendo, like Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. You ever play that one?
I've seen it.
Yeah, they get transported to like a game world by this character Log, L-O-G, and then they have to compete in things, and it's all of the worlds are kind of like knitted together or cobbled together from bits and pieces.
Yeah.
And in Nintendo Land, there's like a character which is like the head of the game world.
Yeah.
And you go to the different portals to the different worlds, but they're all like knitted together.
Sure. So I get, that is pretty similar to...
They seem to have quite a similar aesthetic. It's kind of a shame that they weren't bought by like Nintendo instead of Microsoft.
Didn't they? Yeah.
Because now they just make Kinect Sports.
Do they?
Yeah, they make Kinect Sports Rivals. Which
that's such a classic kind of thing where a big company buys out a little company, it takes the soul out of it and kills it.
I don't think any of the original people that made Banjo-Kazooie even work there anymore.
Because remember how Maxis happened? Like what happened to Maxis a couple of years ago? Maxis were bought by EA. Then they were essentially like completely streamlined, and I think they kind of fired like most of the original staff.
Great.
And now that's what they're doing. And might be PopCap, but the one that they just bought and then they just turned into a mobile developer, and they're just farming them out for mobile games now.
I don't know if it's PopCap or not. PopCap Peggle 2 just came out, so
it might not be PopCap. It might be another one then, but they were just farming like
Zynga?
that development.
Well, Zynga has always been there.
That's independent, I think.
Oh god, I hate Zynga. So that's great. And then my other article is why. What does that say? Oh yeah, it's about why Super Mario Brothers and Super Mario Brothers 2 is better than New Super Mario Brothers and New Super Mario Brothers 2.
Explain.
Well, I mean the Western Super Mario Brothers 2, because
good to clarify.
Well, with a lot of those old games, they're really similar with the sequels and stuff. I mean, you got like Mega Man, Mega Man 2, Mega Man 3, Mega Man 4. It's difficult to even tell which is which at a glance.
Sure.
And you got Super Mario Brothers and Japanese Super Mario Brothers 2.
Yeah.
You familiar with the Doki Doki Panic?
Yeah.
Those are basically the same basic game.
Yeah.
But Super Mario Bros. 2 was really different to Super Mario Bros. 1. And a lot of the elements that it had because it was Doki Doki Panic and now just parts of Mario in general. I mean, you got like Shy Guys, you got Birdo, who's in all the spin-offs and everything. So it really changed it a lot. But then you've got New Super Mario Brothers, which is the kind of stale-ish titles that just do the same thing.
Yeah.
And the difference between New Super Mario Bros. And New Super Mario Bros. 2 is just lots of gold.
That was the entire selling point for the game. It was like, hey, here's an object.
It's like there hasn't really been a shake-up with them.
I feel like Nintendo have gotten lazy. I feel like they're just they found the winning formula and they're like, okay, let's just do that over and over again. That's why that's why I feel like Nintendo have just lost interest in so many people.
Yeah, well, my sort of hopeful argument at the end of that article is, what's the point in even reading the articles if I just speak about it? I sort of say, well, maybe they're just keeping that, but you've got stuff like Super Mario 3D Land or Super Mario 3D World, which are doing quite different things and not selling nearly as well as the new Super Mario Brothers games, just saying.
Yeah.
So maybe that's actually the true answer all along, and there's no point worrying.
Well, that's cool. That was a good conclusion. That's nice.
You didn't like Super Mario 3D Land, did you?
Yeah.
I thought when you first got the 3DS and you got that, you were like, oh,
it was alright. I just wanted a new.
God, so grumpy.
I wanted a new Super Mario 64. I wanted Super Mario 128. I just like open world Marios. Well, not open world, but you know what I mean.
No, open world Mario.
No, yeah. I want him on the mean streets of LA Noire. I want him in a 40s recreation of Los Angeles. Make it happen in 10.
Wario Theft Auto. Wario.
I'm trying to think.
I would buy it. Wario and Waluigi tearing up the streets of the Mushroom Kingdom.
True crime streets
Waluigi.
of MK.
Wow.
Is that what all he does, or
he says other things too? But I can't do the voice.
Just the
Wario. Wario wins.
I'm terrified.
No, I'm Batman.
Why is that? Okay.
Oh, I'm Batman.
I feel like we've. I feel like we're done here.
Oh, I'm Batman.
Just in general.
Wario, Batman. Hi, Batman. Oh, hey, Wario. How's it going? Just hang up. I'm done. I'm out.
So check out.
Also, Let's Play. Let's just. There's Let's Play.
We did a Let's Play. Let's check it out.
We were going to record some Doctor Who today, but I forgot the hard drive. So.
That's cool. Deal with it.
Adam's Venture, I guess. I posted a recap thing of the first 2 episodes of Adam's Venture. Check that out. Follow the Avoid Drowning Twitter at Avoid Drowning. Follow me at PoshAlligator or at Mr. Oscar TK MR Mr. Follow George at
Don't follow me.
I was looking at you to say it because I can't remember your thing.
That's comforting.
I don't know. Just find him.
Just look. Just
find
shine
him.
the sky, signal in the sky.
Find him. Touch him. Click him. Do it.
So what?
Nike. Don't sponsor this in any way.
Burger King sponsor, however. Get your Whopper today. Rest in peace.